Good afternoon, everyone. I see participants coming in. So, hello and welcome to PSIA's Tech Talks Enablement Seminar Series. So, if you're new here, this is something that we're doing for our Enablement Seminar Series this year. So, before I proceed, can you share a thumbs up on the screen if I'm audible to our audiences online? All right, thank you so much, everyone. So, if you're new here, of course, this is something we're doing new for our enablement seminar series. So this year's sessions covers various IT and software topics from the months of February to November. So we're bringing you a total of 9 insightful sessions, and we are on our fifth session now. So we hope that you will be looking forward to our next sessions for the following month. So now, before we start with our program, let me share with you first our seminar rules. Next slide, please. All right, so the session rules are participants' videos and microphones are disabled all throughout the seminar except during the Q&A portion after the topic of presentation or discussion. So there will be a Q&A portion after the topic or discussion. So you may post your questions on the Q&A tab, or you may just raise your hand so we can unmute you. So of course the secretariat will be recording this online Zoom for documentation purposes. So without further ado, let me introduce to you our first speaker for this afternoon. So, our only speaker pala for this afternoon, apologies for that. So our very own Mr. Arup Maity have founded Xamun, the Philippines' first AI-powered software development platform, which combines AI, automation bots, and low-code to launch market-ready enterprise software 4 times faster than traditional development. And Sir Arup is our very own director at PSIA for 15 plus years, helping shape the industry through capability development, policy and marketing, and mentoring hundreds of startups and educators in partnership, of course, with the ICT. And this afternoon, he will be discussing Beyond the Vibe, what it takes to build enterprise software using AI. So let us all welcome Sir Arup. So, Sir Arup, the spotlight is yours.
Thank you. I am going to share my screen. Hey guys, whoever, I don't see anyone's face. Some of you, if you feel like, please turn on your videos. Be good to see some reactions and all, right? Someone was raising hand. Are they not allowed to be seen?
Their videos are closed, sir, but they can just raise your hand if they want to say something.
Okay. So cameras are closed. All right. Okay. That's very different from the rules we have at AIM, where I teach and everyone actually has to open the camera. Okay. Good, good, good. So, hey, everyone, good afternoon. Hopefully, you're in a good mood to learn something new. And this has been something I have been kind of deep into. Not only the enterprise software development and product engineering, that's been more than 25 years now. But it's also the vibe or the AI and how AI can be used and so forth all around it, right? So that's something we have been investing a lot of times. And, in a startup kind of a scene, you don't work 8 hours, you work 16 hours or more. And there are a lot of things that we put it together, and it'd be good to kind of share with you and hopefully learn from some of the feedback. So along the way, every few slides, we'll be having pop-up quiz. Please participate and provide your thoughts and inputs and feedbacks, right? Okay, so most people online on the internet, or when you look at influencers and all, a lot of time they just bundle everything related to AI related coding in one bucket. Um, and nowadays the favorite term is vibe coding. But if you look a little bit deeper, they actually are in three key categories, and that's what we'll spend our time on. So the first one, I mean, I'm sure those of you use it, either know it or can quickly understand it. So the first one and the most extensive one that maybe some of you are already using is what you call the code assist. So like, Microsoft GitHub, Git has its own Git assist, and then there is the Copilot and so forth. We'll talk more about it. Then the middle category, um, it's most of the time known as the vibe coding. That's really the vibe coding that was made popular by Andre. Um, and oh, there's some chat here. Is there a chat? Let me check if someone is saying something. Okay, just welcoming. All right. Okay. And then there is a third category, and this is the one that we'll talk more about, which is not so well known, and it's one of the emerging areas, and this is where we see a lot of opportunities, especially for many of you in the room. So the first category, which is the code assist, right? And in the code assist, the most popular names you can see below: Cursor, of course, Microsoft Copilot. Some of you who are on AWS, maybe you have come across Code Whisperer. Recently, made a lot of name when the Windsurf was bought by OpenAI for some billions of dollars. And some of you who use Klein, maybe you may have tested any of those, right? So the screen you're seeing is how Klein looks like. Sorry, that's how Cursor looks like. Actually, the interesting part is most of them are desktop apps or CLI, and they are running on your device. And actually, most of them are built on the top of VS Code, the IDE. Even Cursor, which looks slightly different, was adaptation of and rebranding of the open source VS Code. So what's it good at? I mean, one of my friend who has been doing programming for last 30 years and holds a PhD and all. So when I was talking to him, he uses Cursor a lot. And I was saying, so how do you, what do you think about it? How do you like it? And his point of view was like, before we had to like Google around for functions and codes and explanations. So now the best thing about most of this tool is it's right inside there. It don't need to go around Googling, and it is contextual and it can enter it. And he was saying it saves at least, a good amount of time. So the industry estimate is 30 to 50% efficiency, and basically makes the job of developers faster. That's the purpose of this, right? So I think at this time you'll get on your screen a little pop-up that's going to ask you if you have used any of these tools, right? Kindly reply to that so we can get a result moving forward. Maybe you can also show of hands, like, raise hand or thumbs up to show how many of you are currently using any of the tools. One thumbs up, okay? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Hey, oh, now it's interesting. Nearly half of you are using something or else. Great, great, great. Good to know. Good to know. And good to know you're adapting because this is the future. All right. Moving on. So what's the next category, right? So the real name of this category, technically, it's called Cloud ID. And best known player there is Replit. Replit is not new. They have been trying to make this thing work for, if I'm not mistaken, about at least 3 to 5 years. But most of their growth came since last quarter last year. Um, it was like a hockey stick jump. And the reason is the timing. The reason is the timing. They were in the right place. They had the infrastructure. They were trying it, and all the AI and LLMs were not up to speed before that. LLMs got much, much more capable since like last 1 year or less. And they fully rode on that, and they grew like, forgot exactly, but like 10 times since last December. So that's Replit. Lovable was launched, I think, in like February or something, and they kind of got like, so Replit, if my memory serves right, has 25 million free users and more than 500,000 paid user today. While Lovable, I think they say they have like 25,000 or 30,000, maybe it has grown last month's data, are paying users, while the others are free. There are others like some of you who may have tried. There was a tool called Stack something. They just rebranded, so that was like a online. They actually also took VS Code and stripped it down and made it into like a browser-based solution, which they were renting out if anyone wanted to use. We were actually using their browser tool in Xamun, about 1.5, 2 years ago. So they rebranded themselves as Bolt, and basically they just added a layer of AI. So that's the last one is V0. Those of you know Versal, um, that's the product. So most of them, except Replit, are actually front-end tools, all of them, V0, Bolt, Lovable, while Replit is more of a full stack. The others, you can take what they have and then work with other providers like I think Superbase, etc., or just do your own coding. But that's the category. And this one, the Replit and Lovable, and well, some of them also talked about Cursor, actually gave that name, or the name, the vibe coding came from there. Not necessarily same category, but people kind of sometimes put them in the same bucket. So what's this good for and where the limitations are? So most of them, the most matured platform among them is Replit. But if you have used it, you will know, if you go beyond, I don't know, 5 to 7 pages, screens, and things starts getting difficult, it gets slow, and at some stage you just end up giving up. Any one of you have used it so far? Maybe you can do a show of hand. Anyone use Lovable, Replit, or any other out of them? So most of the use of this has been, so actually if you look at Andre, the one who coined the term vibe coding, what he said is vibe coding is something that typically people do as a weekend project, um, not necessarily something of production, but um, try out ideas, build a POC, experiment, and maybe if something comes out of it, then decide on building something full, right? Um, Very useful tool, several benefits, several things to learn from there, but it has its own limitations. And the biggest limitation is none of them are, I won't say at all, but none of them are easy to use to bring a production grade software. Anything beyond a single function point solution kinds. Anything more complicated, and this becomes a disaster. At least that's how it is so far. Okay, so there's the question that must be popping up on your screen. Let's see if some of you have used any cloud ID and maybe some form of AI-enabled cloud ID at all, if at all so far. Please do a count. All right. So while vibe coding has been quite popular, many people know about it, like about it. Uh, I am part of a Viber group, WhatsApp group of like the regional um, people who are interested in vibe coding and trying to do or build something with it. Um, it's the most active group among the startup and VC communities and all. And like I think it grew to like more than 800 or few thousand users. I'll tell you the exact number in a matter of, okay, so currently 450, and that's in 3 days. This just started in 3 days, and there are more than and the activity there, a lot of Malaysians and Singaporeans, few Europes and others, and super busy group. But there has been a lot of criticism also, and these are in very well documented, especially when people got over enthusiastic and without knowing the ins and outs of. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with using a tool like this and creating a point solution and bringing it to the market, but you need to know enough about engineering and cybersecurity and vulnerabilities and on all of the other aspects of it. Some of them just, jumped into it without enough foundation knowledge and built something and released it quickly, um, got into many kind of troubles, right? So security has been something that some people got hacked and so forth. But there are several other challenges that you can see. So obviously, not production ready, and definitely it's not something that's usable on an enterprise level, right? So why so? So yeah, I mean this is just some. So yeah, I mean the last 1 year, Cursor grew to 100. Actually, that number probably is old. It's probably now even bigger than that. And the interesting fact, I have been researching on it, and I found out Cursor actually is like subsidizing you. So, I have an account, it's $20 a month, and it allows you to use like Claude, GPT-4 in doing the work. I think within the first 2 hours, I already consumed $20 worth of Claude credits for sure. And they give it like unlimited per month, $20. So they're basically subsidizing with venture money um, to form a habit, right? So plenty of good press, hype around vibe coding, etc. And like always, hype again, got back with a lot of security. In fact, some of the some of the teams of one side actually found vulnerabilities on the other. So I think it was lovable. Expose vulnerabilities in Replit, and the other side also did something. So they basically, lot of challenges. So obviously not the best tool for someone wanting to get into enterprise software development. So the question is like, okay, so what can we do in enterprise or when you are doing production grade software? If the typical vibe coding tools are not going to cut it, are we only limited to the code assist? Well, that's where our philosophy comes in. So we are among the first few in the world to build what we call enterprise grade AI development platform that takes the best of what is needed for AI enterprise software development and AI and put together. So let's see how we look at it, right? So combining AI powers and proven software engineering methodology. So we took what has worked with us. So we have been, I mean, some of you may know us, some of you may not, but we have been Blastasia. We have been in the business for last 25 years, 24 years, and primarily building complex softwares for companies from across the world, mostly offshore. We have done very little work locally. And a lot of our software clients are into finance, into some of them have been into the cybersecurity side, others have been in insurance and e-commerce, etc., complex large systems. And we tried different approaches over the years. Some worked better, some didn't work better, didn't go that well. And we learned and we adapted various methodologies. I'll talk more about it in the subsequent slides. So we kind of took the best practices that works. We took what can be with AI, and that's how we put together the platform. So there are a few things like design first approach. So we realized over the years, the biggest challenge in software development has been confirming scope, right? So we'll go to this more details later. Like how do you use design first? How do you use best practices like test driven, agile, uh, and use the human in the loop at each stage? Bring in not only AI's competency but the human expertise at each key stage, and that's basically how you build an enterprise grade software. So most of the tools like the vibe coding tools, Lovable, Replit, they have a certain philosophy on how they see software to be built, which is typically, we call it like snowball effect. So you take a core of an idea like, okay, I want to build sales management, and the core of the system is like I want to manage contacts of the people I'm going to sell to, or leads management, and then you kind of ask more, and slowly the software gets bigger with more features, more function, and expands into a software, because that's how it goes with the prompt. It will make you a page or two, and then you see what it gave, you give it feedback, it adds some more page, and so forth. So the whole idea there is it's a rapid prototyping through iteration. um, it's like, obviously if you have multiple stakeholders, they won't be sitting with you, and this, while it's fast and all, it still take like, every time even I built a small project, it took me like at least a whole day um, to kind of do the back and forth, refine it to reach anywhere. But typically, yeah, 1 to 2 days. And I would say maybe at least 16 hours or more to build anything that's close to production ready, if it at all reaches. Out of some 10 or 15 tries, I think I had only 3 or 4 that I could really bring it to the next stage. So there are many, and this is not just me, but typical experience with pipe coding kind. So, but the whole thesis is one person knows what he or she wants, sits with it, um, provides it feedback, input, sees what comes out, and iterates to reach a product that he or she has in her mind, versus what is needed in a contracted project, enterprise grade software. I'm not saying it's only for enterprise, but a production ready enterprise grade software typically has multiple stakeholders. Uh, it's not just the developer who's sitting there. In fact, in most of these cases, the developer comes actually much later. It starts with the business folks deciding what they want and so forth, right? So it's a whole different philosophy behind how software is uh, scoped, designed, built, accepted in an enterprise, which goes counter to how the philosophy of Replit and others are, which, while powerful, is kinda not aligned with how software philosophy of enterprise goes, right? So, however, while that's the common practice in enterprise, which is what we say, um, passes from one person to the other. Someone, maybe CEO, maybe a department head, maybe business unit head, has an idea or a requirement. Typically, that gets translated through project owner, project manager. Sometime it's the product manager. Sometimes it's called the business analyst, and they try to understand what they're saying, do some documentation, get involved with like designers, make prototype, wireframes, etc. Sometimes get in touch with vendors if needed, um, and do a back and forth, produce. Sometime you have to produce the business feasibility case, some estimate on cost and time and all and so forth. And then only after everything is good, goes back to the developer. And the funny thing is sometimes this thing alone can take months, just before it's even fully designed, right? And then the developer, of course, takes their own time, build it, and bring it back. And a lot of time, by the time the final software is going for UAT, um, the original user says like, that's not that's not exactly what we had in mind, or start adding many ideas, and it becomes a headache. So, um, like in some cases, this is called like the telephone game. Basically, when I don't know if you have played that in a party. So, you whisper something to someone's ear, and they tell it to the next, they tell it to the next. And by the time you hear the message after the fifth iteration, it's very different. Similar problem happens in software also. While you can argue that, but Arup, there are documentations and prototypes and all which are supposed to solve it. But in reality, what ends up happening is, no one likes reading documents. No one likes even printed wireframes and whatnot. So many do not they only see the software for the first time when it's finished and at UAT, and then everyone has their thoughts and ideas. And this leads to still what you see below the results, where, cost overrun, project failure rates in some or other forms. And many of this are purely around getting the vision, scoping, aligning all, rather than how fast the developer can code, right? So, so if you see the problem, the core of it is really not so much of developing faster, which is what, say, like the code assist and all does. Because if you do what is not correct fast, you'll still have the same problem as before, maybe worse, right? So if you look at the this is a simplified SDLC, but kind of identifies the various challenges that you see at each stage, right? So most of the time, while doing the initial scoping, incomplete requirement, or what the user said and what they meant may not be aligned. Excuse me. Um, it's like the problem with software is it's like a movie. Um, if you tell the story, it it sounds good, but you don't know if that would look good and have that same experience when it's built, right? When the movie comes. So that's why most of the time for movies, you see companies actually promote the trailers, because trailers is like proof of the pudding. It's like sort of their wireframe, or sort of their pre-UAT or sort, so that when and then sometimes they actually tweak on the basis of that, so that by the time they bring the movie out, you have a managed expectation of what you can see. So that's the requirement phase, guys. That's one of the biggest challenge. And then of course, how do you translate? We have we have seen good success with tools like InVision, which is shut down now, Figma, um, in projects where even 10 years ago we were doing the prototyping and showing it to the client and getting a sign off before we move to the build part. But the biggest challenge is it takes time. I mean, imagine a large enough project with 100 page or so. The natural tendency is to just design maybe the key pages, key dashboards, and get a sign off, while maybe 50%, 70%, we say, those are just CRUD or something, and just leave that aside. And the problem, by the time you're done with it and bring them, maybe the flow was not agreed upon, maybe certain data wasn't there. So yeah, all kind of issues. While design first using Figma and all was a good way to solve the problem, doing it 100% was very labor intensive. And how do you do it? If some client is ready to pay for it, then you can do it. Otherwise, you end up spending time and money upfront, without assurance whether you'll get the deal, right? And that kind of becomes the problem later. So even though you can reduce some of the ambiguities, it wasn't eliminating it completely, right? Um, During the development, of course, various challenges are there. And I guess most of you come from software background, so you know what goes in there. Some of this will always remain, some challenges. Um, but with AI and all, the velocity and speed of debugging, and many of the other things, simple things like syntax errors and all, are quite easily removed. Testing has always been a necessary but difficult one, right? Many, without having a proper process, ends up moving the testing to the tail end of the project, and if there are delays and overruns, testing kind of gets pinched, and that results in not fully tested software getting into the beta, and having more headaches than not, right? And lastly, of course, in the deployment, there are many challenges that comes with it. So I guess our question here, to get some quick feedback from you, do you empathize with any of this? Do you agree with the experience and the challenges that we had, or you know it's not that common? Must be having a question pop up in front of you. Kindly. Oh, there you go. More thumbs up. Okay. Yeah. So I guess the pain is real, right? Okay. Oh, how come now it's popping up? I guess someone forgot to send the questions before. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Kindly. respond to the poll. Originally, the idea was we can give you one poll at a time, but I guess the tools doesn't allow yet. Um, yeah. Which phase do you have the most problem? Actually, I know it would probably be the testing and deployment phase where the real problem is actually faced. But the cause of the problem actually comes from much earlier, the honeymoon stage of the early stage of project requirements and design, when everyone is happy, client is happy, developers are happy, project managers are happy. But that's where the real problem, the seed of the problem actually starts there. It just manifests its ugly face towards the end of it. Okay. Um, so our experience has been many of this have been addressed through better methodologies, right? The design first approach, into applying some of the design thinking principles of getting users more involved, um, building prototypes, getting them to sign off, if possible, to get them to collaborate in the design. Very helpful and useful, and we have actually seen good results on that. Except the unknown part or the unsafe part there is to get that assurance that this is really removing majority of the scope risk. You have to do 100% of the design and get them to review and sign off, which very difficult and very expensive to do upfront. The other part is like, well, how many of you are using Agile? Okay, sometimes that's the wrong question to ask because many form many form of Agile exist, and some might be different from others. Some might be real Agile, other might be not so. Like, Callan in our group gets very emotional about calling wrong kind of Agile, but nevertheless, Agile has been popular and it has made several methodologies, several project management methodologies and deliveries less risky. However, the biggest problem with enterprise project and Agile, you can do Agile on a fixed price contract. Otherwise, you got a good chance of losing your shirt. So Agile works best if it is more of time and material kind of an engagement or internal project. And even with internal projects, there are challenges with companies wants fixed numbers and fixed timelines, which can be achieved. I believe there are ways to do that in Agile because fixed budget Agile is common. But sometimes, you know, old school thinking kind of hinders it. So Agile in enterprise, while um, popular in talks, in reality has its challenges. And the thing with Agile is it only works when you actually go through the entire key processes, not only adapt Scrum or Kanban, but also things like engineering approaches that are aligned with Agile, like test-driven development, CI/CD, um, focus on improved DevSec, SecOps, etc. And there are many good stories there, except um, while it reduced the overall risk, there are many challenges, and the biggest challenge still remains upfront, which is the scope-related risk. So, okay, another question for you. Which best practice do you apply in your projects? Maybe you can respond to that question now or later or whenever it pops up on your screen, so we can show you the overall result across. How many are we today in the meeting? Uh, Quite a lot, more than 60. So we can see how and who what is the average. Okay, now tools and technologies, and where does the AI tools and others? So let's face it, the requirement phase, there are, while Burns helped me collate some of the tools, not much has been done in terms of using AI for requirement. That that seems to be an area where kind of sort of left open ended. Most of the concentration has been on the design, development, and testing side of it, or at least part of it. Um, Most of this tool are not end to end, obviously. They are good at one thing or the other. And the focus has been mostly on the development or design. I mean, whether it's Figma, who are adding in some AI elements to it, or Canva, um, who actually now trying to do the front end, and so forth, right? So there's that whole bunch of them. Of course, the other tools we talked about, from Cursor to the uh, Windsurf and everyone else who are into the, and not so much on the dev side, though I know there are a few tools that are focusing AI based testing and all. Not the not the easiest area. So most of these tools have some testing built into it, but more of those are related to the function level testing rather than end-to-end regression testing, or the full business process testing and all. And most of the other existing tool assumes those would be done manually. And lastly, when it comes to deployment, not so much of AI has gone in there, though there are some upcoming thoughts and process on that. But yeah, I mean, Git and DevOps and all are present over there. Okay, question to ponder over. How happy are you with your current tool set, and how good are they in solving your current set of problems, right? Um, think about it. I think that we have a question that would come up. So how do we solve this, right? The question is, what what was the thesis behind Xamun, and why do we think we do a better job in solving these problems? So you see, instead of using bunch of different tool sets, um, threading one to the other, getting the output of one and use on the other, and so forth, across the different parts of SDLC, um, or try to do the best practice, but then the best practice doesn't actually map to the tool. In Xamun, we actually bring that whole SDLC, the AI, not necessarily those tools, but our own tools, and um, apply things that we have seen proof of working from design thinking, agile, etc., etc. We'll talk more about it in a bit more. So we are among the rare few, at least in the market, who actually tries to address the entire SDLC from idea to a working software, push to production, everything on one platform, following the best practice, and speeding up at each stage using AI. So the benefit, we don't, the codes, at this moment, what we are supporting is Angular, C Sharp, SQL for web, and React Native, C Sharp, SQL for the code. It's the approach we take is very different from others, and the quality of code is verified. It's very well written. In fact, I would challenge that maybe AI code written are more clean and more better structured than maybe 80% of developers normally they do, and not that they cannot do, but under time pressure and everything, people end up doing shortcuts. Um, we're looking at about 3 times the speed, sorry, 10 times the speed. So what used to take 6 to 9 months can be done in like 6 weeks or less, depending on, um, and of course, the process utilizes human experts throughout the process. We'll talk more about it. And the benefit of it, um, we have we have seen higher chance of project success, higher as in of the 14 or 16 projects we did in the last 18 months or more. Um, it has been all have been actually successful. Unlike before, if we tried fixed price project, it used to end up either us losing money or client being unhappy with when you push back on scope and everything. But with this, we have seen much better results. We can talk more about it during the Q&A if you have questions. Um, how does it go? What do we have? What's available? What can be used? So today, we have the design studio publicly available. Any of you can use it. It resolves and solves the biggest risk of software development, which is basically scoping, designing, speccing, estimating. All of those are done. Doesn't need us. You can actually register and use it. So that's the first part, the design studio. It has been uh, very well used by companies and individuals across the country and the world. Uh, at this moment, until now, the available has been after you're done with the design, um, we would be the one to take the project and build it. That's the current state. And by July, which is next month, we are actually releasing the self-service option. So now, any of you or um, other other corporate and enterprise users, or even those that are probably trying an idea on Replit and frustrated, and now they want to kind of build it production grade, they can actually use Xamun Design Studio and Build Studio on their own, end to end, and put a software, large scale software. It could be several scores of pages, um, sizable ones, up and running with proper quality. It comes in two variety or two options. It's primarily self-service, of course, but what we realized, and I'll talk more about it moving forward, what we realized is there are things that AI is still not fully capable of, or has its lacking. Um, when you listen to like the OpenAI guys or the founders of Anthropic, they claim by end of the year that capabilities will enhance further and it would probably be much better. But I am not sure. So things like debugging, complex business logics and all. Um, so last 5%, depending on the complexity of the project, last 5%, or integrating to, let's say, complex payment gateway, Stripe or something like that, or that's where some of the remaining challenge, and you need to be a developer, you need to get to the code level, and if someone does not know coding, that can become a challenge. So we have the model we're offering, what we call assisted. So, it's still self-service, bring it to the last 5%, and then pull in someone who's trained in the platform, knows the technology, and can come in and solve the last few things to make it production ready. But for technical folks who knows the coding language of this stack and all, they can actually just take care of it and do it everything. And the best part is something that used to take like a team of 3 to 5 headcounts, maybe 6 to 9 months. you can now do this in, I don't know, under 2 months. Um, Depends on how fast your clients move. Of course, that's another side of the story, right? So software side, you probably can finish it in 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. But all the back and forth, getting feedback, and also, yeah. But even then, something that used to take 9 months, 12 months can be brought down to under 2 months. And that's something that we have experienced already. So that's upcoming, and we'll give you at the end. There's a QR code. You can register for the early user access, and there are some freebies and free credits in case you want to use it. That would be available. Okay, now it's time for showing you some working software, right? Um, can can they? Um, yeah, I can see now. Okay, to do justice to the demo, I will need to get some requirements. Like, if some of one or two of you can share an idea of a software that you'd want to see how we can design it in the next 20 minutes or so, please share in the chat. Like, it could be like a Twitter feed, like under 200 character, define a software that you want to build, or design rather. Yeah, I mean, we'll only do it to the design. The build, while it's super fast, it's not going to happen in 1 hour. But I'll do a walkthrough of the build studio also. So anyone, kindly proceed, type out. Now, while you do that, let me give you an idea of how the design studio works, right? Before I show it to you. So typically it starts with the software. The AI helps in scope recommendation. So once you give me a one-line statement like, I want to build a clinic management software that would allow patients to book the schedule with the doctor, and we upload their reports and all. And then when the doctor has written them a prescription, they can see it, any recommended, and then that becomes like a common placeholder for keeping all medical records and all, something like that. I mean, it could be like that, or you can say something like, I want to build a tool for warehouse management or something like that, right? So anything like that, we then, the AI helps in converting it to a scope. Uh, and then, or yeah, you can raise your hand and speak also. So, and then that gets converted to design a prototype, working prototype, and then prototype gets converted, once confirmed, into agile specs, user story, test cases, etc. And once that is done, it converts into a cost and time estimate, right? Now, at each stage, as you can see, there is a human collaboration. So there are different expertise that comes in, like, business analysts, designers. Yes, we will wait 1 second. But thank you for raising your hand. We will definitely take your input. So that's how it goes. Our system is designed to be human in the loop. And in each stage, we can provide inputs, feedback to refine and bring it. And there is also a feasibility study aspect of it, right? Okay. So with this, let me stop sharing this one. And oops, there you go. 1 second. Let me bring up. Yes, kindly share what you have in mind, and let me see which one we can pick up for design. Go ahead. Do you need to give them access to speak or something?
Have you already given them access to speak, sir?
Okay. Hi, Dale. You want to say what you have in mind? Some idea? Want to design? Or Charmaine? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. No, I was wondering to raise hand, but they're not speaking. If you're shy, type it out in the chat if you like. Or you have question. What do you go ahead? So whatever you're going to say, I'm going to type it out here and then I'll use that for showing how the platform will work. Anyone? Okay, guys, I'm assuming you raised your hand because you want to speak, right? No, no, left. Okay. Okay, and anyone has any idea before you can type something there, anything you want to see built. Must be in some kind of a project now, isn't it? Give me your idea of the project. Let me type it out. Anyone? Okay, apparently not. Fine, I'll just choose one of the sample projects, right? Okay, let's choose one of these. My business needs to increase. So, by the way, you can actually ask the software in two possible ways. One is you can ask it as a business objective, or you can ask it an software term. For example, it could be like customer portal with payment processing or inventory management system for small retailer. Or you can actually do it by business intent, like my business needs to increase repeat purchase and referral through higher customer loyalty. Okay. Or we need to manage our company's own vehicle, including preventive maintenance as well as fuel tax, etc., etc. Well, let's take that one. Let's use this. So this is how it goes. You can type that in, or you can choose from here like I did. You can also upload like a BRD or something like that, right? It's possible. Um, you can do that. By the way, this choice of enterprise grade versus others, it just kind of, um, if you do not go for it, it's more like a um, suitable for mid-sized businesses. So it's not super uh, details in terms of how many people will use it, the branches, the approver, etc. is much more limited. But if you switch this on into enterprise grade, the number of features and function increases as well as the cost. So we found most of the time, for the smaller business who reach out to us, um, the other flipping it off is useful, while the enterprise customers who wants a full feature functions with workflow, audit, and everything else. Okay, so I will proceed on this. And so what's happening? It's going to use this one to kind of query and find the best possible. Oh, there, it's quite quick today. So register company vehicle, right? It says, okay, so that's the module, vehicle registry, vehicle record, vehicle profile. Okay. By the way, you can choose web or mobile. Let's say it's web. The next one, it's recommending schedule preventive maintenance. Okay, so it kind of keeps track. So it says maintenance management enables a maintenance manager to create, schedule, and track preventive maintenance tasks for company vehicles, um, preventing maintenance dashboard, create maintenance task, task details, history, and so forth. Say, okay, looks good. If I would have chosen the enterprise, this would have probably, 3 times more features and functions, by the way. This is available to anyone. If you like, you can go in and test it out. You can just go to app.xamun.ai and try. Okay, now the other is log fuel and tax record. Okay, that's what we asked for. Submit driver logs. Okay, enables drivers to submit daily driving logs and duty logs, including trip details, etc. All right, so we can choose this. Maybe for the driver, we go with the mobile, right? Because he will, he or she will need that, right? So designing today cost roughly around uh $20. Sorry, $30 to do the design. Um, 1 second. I will need a coupon to not pay that money now. So I'll request a coupon. Mine actually just finished. Okay, so okay, now we will save this project. Um, let's say we'll call it fleet management. Choosing the country helps in some level of localization on certain aspects. And now I will save the project. So there, now we have um, the modules, which I can further look into the details. Vehicle registry for fleet admin, forms to input, all of these details. You can edit, update all of this, right? This is all. So this is written in plain English that can be viewed, updated. You can add more pages to each of this module if needed. Now you can add new modules in case you forgot and missed out on something. You can do that. After you have gone through it, there's one mobile module, which is this one, driver's log. So since the driver is going to use while outside, um, so it kind of there. That's the details, driver's log submission and history. So it's there. I will have to read this and accept before it will allow me to do the design. Okay, so once you're done with this, by the way, it also gives estimate here for how much it will cost if it is something that is outsourced to us. Proceed. This is where you can do the details, right? So details like you can, well, it's not yet too many choices. In near future, you can choose between React and Angular. For mobile, it's React Native, which is the default. Backend is C Sharp. We will be adding others like Node down the line. SQL Server is the current default. We will be adding others. The automated DevOps is built with Microsoft Azure, but we do support many of our projects that we rolled out are on AWS or GCP. So it can be done, not a problem. It's just there's a little bit of manual work in that, but otherwise this is fully automated. Yeah, this is we need to add something here. By the way, this also allows in case you already have existing app and all you want to do is just the front end, you can do that. So it will not need you to add the back end. This where some level of designs can be done. You can take some, for example, picture. So I can add some logos here. Maybe something like this one. Um, it will show up as a logo. Hopefully you're following along so far. So after doing this, I can also adjust some of the color themes and all, uh, like so. There are other things like um, I could actually choose other styles and themes. Um, I'll just skip this and I will save project. Okay, so at this stage, this will ask you for a payment. Um, Hold on, let me find. Burns, can you kindly check? I should have prepared a coupon, but I forgot. Burns, you there? Just a second. I will stop sharing for a moment. So I'm just entering the coupon code. There, I found one. Um, I'll enter the code. Okay, all good here so far. All right. And it will now start the generating process. So while this is running, guys, anyone has any questions? Maybe we can answer something so far. Uh, Anyone can raise your hand maybe if you like, or chat here. Any question? If not, if not, then let me maybe open another tab and show you what to expect while this is still loading. Okay, I have oops, wrong project hub. So this one is a demo account. I only have, so there's a existing project. So when I go here, so this is a simple small project. It only has one module and 5 pages. So it's a clinic clinic management app of sorts, right? So client dashboard that shows very basic details, edit client, client reports, client list, add clients, etc. Okay. So that's like how you saw the scope. Then there's the setup, and it generates the design pages like this. So if you see here, uh, client dashboard, so you can um, view client, view report, system status, etc. Very simple one. This is adding new client like the forms. So this gets generated on the fly. We'll show you for the other project we are working on. Then this is like client report, kind of shows who is active, who's not. Um, this is the report of sorts. Okay, you know what it has. And add client. Okay, a very, very simple project. Now, what it does is the next one is it automatically also does the mapping. So add new client, what is the process mapping? So it kind of shows um, add new client. That button is the one mapped here. And it goes to the next. And then you can fill up the form, and the button to click is save client. And this should complete that process flow, right? Then you can preview this. If you go here, this says add new client. There you go. And fill up details. So usually it also has some validations. You need to, okay, and save client. And it would bring me to the last page, which is, it says end of flow, basically added a new client. So that's the validation. So you can use this as a tool to kind of do like what we call pre-UAT, right? It also generates its own menu, by the way, so you can view it in like a pre-flow state of how the software will go for different stages. Uh, Now, if this one is edit client and it doesn't work, right? I'll show you how you can fix that. And okay, so what I can do here, I'll close this. I'll go here and edit client information. There you go. Should work. Why was it not working? Um, should map to this button. Oh, I can't change it now because this is already in. So once you move to build, the design is locked, but I'll show that to you in the other project. Maybe our project is ready. Oh, there, our project is ready. Let's review this one. So remember, it was a vehicle fleet management, and this is the vehicle registry. So you can enter the details of the vehicle. By the way, at this stage, you can actually further edit this. So you can chat with the tool with AI to change any of these details that you see here. If you don't like, if you want something else, you can actually do that. You can also edit the menu. So it will generally create the menu on its own subsequently. But before we go there, and this is the access, like who has access to this particular page, right? So you can define it here, right? Obviously not the driver, maybe the accountant can, right? And then you can save this, and on the basis of that, oh, you can also go in here and do some edits of the design. So you can see HTML, CSS, and JavaScripts are available. And Won't advise always, but there are options of if you have a Figma design, you can upload the image here and this can actually edit this. Not the strongest point of AI, but works and getting better every day. There are other things like vehicle records for fleet admin. Okay, so this one's user is the fleet admin, fleet manager, fleet admin there. Okay, so we should allow him and he can probably see the vehicles like this. So Toyota Camry, technician, when was it? So this are all, this got generated while we asked it to, right? Um, doesn't do the edit, and then this is the profile of the vehicle with all the details. Um, Registration expiry, insurance expiry, stuff, all kind of stuff is there. Maintenance history, you can see it here. Uh, it will bring you there. Any documents that are needed, vehicle registry and so forth. It's like a document viewer of sorts, insurance policy, everything in one place, usage and mileage metrics. So, there you go. It kind of has um, trip history logged in here, fuel used and so forth, and activity history of sorts. So there, those are the page generated. We might be happy with this, or we can edit this further. These are the other pages, scheduled maintenance. Um, as you can see, there's like a scheduler of sorts, right? Uh, you can view it in table, or you can, okay, the edits are not connected. It will get connected on the next page. Create preventive maintenance task. So you can create or schedule some task, um, whatever, of the slots and all. Pretty complete, right? Then this is the whatever ongoing task, status, etc. Documents and attachment if any needed, and maintenance history. So there, you can choose the vehicle and you can pull up details on that like that. This is a before and after photo. And this is for the, oh yeah, I have to show you the driver's log that's in mobile. This one is the fuel log, right? So fuel tax record, okay. You can see that. Then for the accountants, oh, I forgot to add the details here. So this is the accountants module. Is the fuel tax log, and yeah, this is for the recording. This is the fuel administrator's page. So fleet administrator, not fuel administrator. Uh, okay, all right. So that, and then when we proceed, okay, so it's warning me. What did it warn? I need to, so there are a few new elements that got added. Fuel tax for fleet admin. Okay, have to save it. Not adding is not enough, right? This one is for the administrator also. So save it. Then this is for the accountant. Okay, this is a new feature that got added. In the next version, this will automatically pick it up because the data is already there. So it doesn't need me to go back and forth. But for now, Maintenance manager is probably all are for the maintenance manager. So maintenance manager. Okay, hopefully you guys are still with me and what I'm showing makes sense to you. All right, last few pages on this one. Um, I missed something, fleet admin. Okay, the fleet admin is there. This one supposed to be fleet admin also. And last one, fleet admin still. Okay, there you go. I mean, typically you'll spend more time going through it. I'm just doing a quick one. Page details, user role, fleet, vehicle, fleet. Okay, which one did I miss out? Maybe that one is too many. Okay. Okay. No, page details user role not assigned. Okay, never mind this. I can probably skip it. No, I cannot skip it. Driver love submission mode. Driver love. Oh, okay. Yeah, good. See, it remembers better than me, right? So the mobile was missing. So this is the mobile for the driver, right? So you can add like a trip details. Uh, maybe this needs to be enhanced with some kind of a QR code in the car to scan, and then they can. So anyway, vehicle ID. Um, yes, Dale. You're raising your hand. Go ahead. Can you speak? Uh, you want to speak, Dale? I see your raised hand, but I can't hear you. Uh, yes. Maybe now try. You're now moved to the center. You have to unmute, of course. I can't hear you. Kindly speak.
Hi there, you may unmute yourself now.
Uh, okay. Maybe by mistake. I don't know. Anyway, maybe later. Okay. So this is the mobile view, by the way. You can type in your questions in the chat if you like. So this is the mobiles design. You can edit that further if you want, but that's the general idea, right? Um, Now let's proceed. Uh, Submit. Oh, okay. I did not save it. I did save. This one. Okay. Now, no, still doesn't allow. I don't know. What did I leave? History, log, only driver, also only driver. This is good. Wait, let me see what it is saying. Page detail is a driver log submission mobile. But it is. Anyway, this is a new release yesterday night. So maybe there is some bug here with the new feature. But okay, so I just did a bypass. Don't mind me. Okay, so now these are the web and the mobile modules. So these are the flow in the mobile, which is export log to PTF, right? So there's the button, click, and it's supposed to do that, and we can test it out here. So export as PDF. Okay, where is that? I have to first view, and this one probably no. Where is export as PDF? Is there export as PDF? This one. Okay. So it will move me to the next page. Is it? What will happen? Okay, I can go back and check what's supposed to happen. Okay, actually, it doesn't do anything. It goes to the same page. Okay, let's look at something else. Save log. Okay, this one maybe. Let's check this. So submit log. Okay, let's view this process. Okay, add status change, like something. Okay, okay, time something. Anyway, um, all fields are required. Okay, so it has some validations. Yeah, so this needs some work, but generally there, confirm submission, submitted successfully, and so forth. So that's the typical flow check. You can go to the web and complete maintenance task, right? So someone who's working on the maintenance, you can zoom in and view more details of this one. And once you're done, complete task, this one is mapped, and it will bring you to the next page, which is the maintenance log, right? Okay, let's see if it is working. So there you see it's kind of already there, and complete task will bring me to the maintenance board. So this is the general idea, guys. How this goes, how it generates all the design that you can use for design maintenance, showing it to your client. So every page in this solution has been actually created. Once you have gone through all of this and you have gotten your approval on the design, you can actually go ahead and generate user stories, test cases. So I started that. So AI is now running it, and it's going to create detailed user story test cases, some logic, even recommends some integrations that may be relevant at this stage. So in a few minutes, there you go. It has created a complete user story for that. So complete a preventive maintenance task by updating its status, adding comments. So there, that's basically what it's happening. It has also written up acceptance criteria once the product is ready. Um, some logic, computation, etc. And if you need it to be integrated to some kind of a notification, so it's recommending Twilio or SendGrid. These are the test cases it generated. You may want to keep them all. You might want to keep less. Um, this will run automatically once the software is built to ensure. And these are the steps. So it will open maintenance, task detail, fill up form, enter valid comments, attach documents, photos, click on complete, and the expected results. Um, very much. And you can edit it further. You can open and edit also the user stories. It's written in the standard agile format. I would, as a, I would like to do this as this one. All of those details are here. You can change the integrations also as needed. Hopefully you got the idea generally so far, right? So I think I only processed a couple of them. This is the other one. What is this story? Deactivate a company-owned vehicle from the fleet record. So that's basically. By the way, in this stage, you want to see like how does this work? You can actually go and check it here. So, and as the story says, to ensure inactive, and so how do you do it? Uh, let's say it will give you a direction. Records, then click on deactivate vehicle. Okay, let's see if that works, right? So I'll go here, uh, edit this vehicle. No, deactivate. Oh, okay, this one, deactivate. There, it's deactivated. And now, yeah, so maintenance due 3 days and it has been deactivated. You can probably do some other things here, but that's the general idea. So that's, you can test it like what is to expect. What it will do is when we show you the build studio, the same pages will be available, same test will be available, same preview is available, and then the generated software, you can triangulate against these two things to make sure what was in the specs, what was agreed upon, what test was supposed to be done are the same ones that are there. And all these tests would also be running automatically to make sure it's bug free. The last page is so at this moment, like I was telling you, the current option is only managed service through us, but moving forward, there would be an option to do it on your own. So that option would be available here. The button would be available here. So instead of requesting a contract, this would have an option like self-service, and it would bring you to the build studio. But before we go there, show you two more feature. One is this one. So it actually does also a estimation of time and cost if done on a traditional way. Now, don't mind this cost. Sometime you may use it to give a quote to your own client. So let's say your billing rate you want to give is $20, not 30. So it will it will do the changes. It will give you an estimate of time, and you may take it, or you may say, no, I'll probably go for um, a smaller estimate or larger estimate, and you can download. So let me show you what you can do with this. So this is the project that we created, and these are the assets that exist. So, you can email this prototype to someone by typing in their name and sending it by email. You can open, of course, this same prototype like we saw before. You can download all the design in a PDF format, like so. You can, oh, this is the other interesting one. So if you have to actually do a, let's say we are in retail, and you have to justify this, the cost of this tool, then you can actually generate a report. So this will take a minute or so, and it will come back with a business case for this, which could be, depends on who you're talking to, it can be used to justify um, building the software and the return on investment, etc. Now, it may not be 100% aligned with the company and the business that you are in, and all the other things, but it's a good starting point. You can pick it up, tweak it a bit, and at least 70-80% of the work is done in terms of doing a business case justification. There you go. So proposed project, a platform to manage company-owned vehicles, schedule preventive maintenance, blah, blah, blah. So, it kind of does some kind, this one assume that you are probably going to be selling this, something like a SaaS model. So so we could have actually mentioned this for internal use and do it that way, and it could have actually taken that into account. You can always go back and edit this and rerun it. Anyway, got the idea. That's mainly what we have in the design studio. Anyone has any questions? Can answer. Or what I'll do is I will now jump to the next part. So you already saw the design studio, right? Now, the next is the build studio. So the build studio is where okay, let me make it full screen. There's a lot of details here so you can see. So the way this works is the output of the approved design from the design studio is an input to the build studio. So at the build studio, there is a whole series. It's not necessarily all linear. There are some iterations here, but just for understanding purpose, the first thing it does is it creates an environment, dev environment, which includes various things from identity server to the Git repo to the um, various other details like database, etc. Gets built and assigned. Then comes the pipeline run. So one main difference between the approach how Xamun develops software versus some of the other Replit and all, they kind of do it iteratively. On our case, we already finished the entire scope and design. And then we have a series of agents, some 8 or 9 of them, that will run um, in coordination to each other to create the entire software. I'll show you the agent, at least the logs of that in a bit. And when it's running, in some scenarios, it may actually not have any bugs or issues and go through. But after 3 tries, if it cannot resolve some issues, some bugs, it will stop. And there's a issues log where you can go and you can address those issues, debug it. So the role of the developer at this stage in the build studio is primarily to actually support the agents to finish the work rather than being the main um, developer here, right? So most of the work, about 80% of the work is done by the agent and the pipeline. The human developer's role is to monitor it, help it out where it gets stuck or it has question, and then it goes through the whole integration. So it generates also the backend. While generating the backend, it generates the ERD for the developer to check and confirm. Once they have confirmed it, it will go ahead, build the CRUD, build the what do you call intent-based API, etc. All of those, and then it will try to do the integration across. Um, Sometime it will be fully successful. There might be times when a complicated one for a particular chart or graph or something like that might not be done. So it would be left out and it will tell you so. And then, someone has to jump in there, um, do the debugging. This is where most of the current setup work goes in. So our ballpark estimate is anywhere about 20 to 30 minutes per screen, sometime less, some takes 10, some might take 40, is what goes into debugging each screen. So if you're talking about, let's say, this case, like, I don't know, 5 or 7, 10 screens, um, that's maybe about 5 hours of work or so, plus anything else that you need to spend on testing. Once you're done with this, fixing the bugs and supporting, by the way, when it comes to supporting the bug fix, if you're a developer and you know how to deal with Angular, C Sharp, etc., you can use VS Code to help debug it. I am Rusty, so and some of the others. So there is you can actually use Klein or Cursor, um, so you can still use that as a tool on the top of VS Code to debug, which takes less time, of course, than doing it manually. And once you're done with this, uh, and then upcoming next month, when we're going to release it for self-service, we'll be having a browser-based chat that helps in debugging. So that kind of makes it less intimidating for non-technical folks because, opening a VS Code already scares some people. So they can actually just do it. No need to touch any code, just chat. And maybe 90% of time they can actually build a average system on their own with the debugging. But in other case, if they need assist, they can reach out to us or they can find some developer who can actually help them debug it. So that's pretty much how it goes. It generates the test scripts, it runs the test script, then the human QA, UAT gets pushed to beta, and thereafter it gets through static and dynamic testing, UAT, pen test, and testing with tools to read through any vulnerability, security warnings, etc. And then it can get pushed to the live. That's pretty much the cycle on the Build Studio. Let me give you a quick glimpse on this also. Where did it go? Where are you? Oh, there you. So I have one project here. That same clinic project I was showing you. So this is loading the, okay, so it has some errors. And this is the screen where you can see this is already the Angular project. As you can see, it has the menus. You can go. So as you can see, there are some problems. So it's not populating the data from the database. This one, the agents have actually completed the run. So if you see the logs, is the front end related log. Um, There is the database generation related logs. Then, so I mean, you can go through the CRUD. This is where the CRUD generation happen, different entity class, etc., etc. Then it ran its own integration of the front end to the back end. As you can see, it also did its own testing, got the 200 results and so forth. And then it generated, so like for the charts and graphs and all, it started generating like joining tables and all. So we call that intent-based API and basically tested it. And last is the test automation. It generated the test scripts for the test automation, but even though the full run has happened and the deployment to the sandbox, which you can see here, has happened, it's most likely not fully working with the database. So this is where some level of work goes in. So this is where, by the way, these are the user stories and test cases you can see. You can use this for testing purposes. And you can go to the, so these are the bug list that got listed here. So if someone like, some of you are technical enough and you know what to do, you can actually jump in here and do the fix if you like. So this is an editor. You can do the edit mode. It's a browser-based editor. But otherwise, there's a way of downloading, syncing to the VS Code to your local repo, and then you can do the bug fix over there. You can report a bug also. This is the repository, so you can see the repo here. So you can, this is kind of syncing from the Git. These are the other details, like, so your different environment variables, the deployment history, it failed a couple of times, then ran successfully here, how long it was taking per build and deployment, and so forth. All the details are available. What is this? Okay, this is for the test. So you can actually execute the test. Once the tests are running, you can start seeing the result. So yeah, someone else might be using it. So they actually ran something. Now this is actually placeholder. This is not real. It's not yet implemented, I think. And this is where the time logs for the developers go in. So, for particular each business process, you can actually do a time log. So there's a plan versus how long you really spend. Let's say you spend 20 minutes here, etc. So on the basis of that, it also updates the plan versus actual for the tracking purposes. So the project managers and all can see. So that's how it works, by the way. And the main job is to open and connect to this from VS Code today or Cursor and download the repo and fix it and push it back. The pipeline will run on its own, and you can see the fixed solution here. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the software. Since none of you are responding anymore, I'll just do the last couple of slides and maybe have a Q&A after that, so we can track. So do you want to use this? We'll give you an option later. But this is probably from the career point of view, right? So with AI, there are lots of fear in the industry, like what will happen to the various roles that we have today. This is my take in terms of how we see our people are kind of evolving to fit into the new way of working within us. Obviously, we are not going to be the only product in the market, and obviously our methodology is not the only one. So, take it with a grain of salt, but this is what we see as the four key roles in the era of AI native software development that would be in demand. And so the first one is what we are calling now, okay, we just didn't want to call it solution design or solution auditor, because some of the system architect, because some of you might be in this role, but there's going to be a little bit of change. And when we just added the AI in front of it, is to just kind of differentiate, but it's not just about AI, right? But it's about being the solution designer in the era of AI software development. So basically what you can see here, there are a couple of roles that we see getting merged, right? So solution architect, business analyst, and UI UX designer. We're kind of seeing them actually becoming the solution designer, because AI is doing the heavy lifting, while each of them might be coming from a different point of view. They're actually being able to pick up the solution design role. What changes is a few aspects that one needs to pick up, right? So, maybe a lot of the designers were less into talking to customer. Now they actually have to do this, because majority of this role is to be the middleman in between the AI and the humans, that either you're requiring the asking the specs from, confirming what you're going to build, or end user supporting, etc. Right? So some skill change, but basically the bottom line is solution designer role is solution architects, BAs, and UX designers are actually combining to become this role. Um, the senior engineers who were architects, this role hasn't changed much, and this is going to still remain closer to this, where a very large system, how do you break it down into projects, and how do you choose the right data structure? How do you choose the right infrastructure, or whether it should be a microservice or should be a micro monolith, etc. So there are various aspects that needs to be really decided, and the system architect role is going to remain. But again, this role, while important, would be needed only for select kind of projects, highly valued, but not so busy. Um, Solution builder is the traditional developer role, but what's changing is um, we're kind of with AI seeing front end, back end, or specific technology stack expertise becoming less important, and they are now becoming this super full stack engineers. So, of course, to do the debugging on the code level, you need to know that language. But typically, AI is doing most of the heavy lifting. So the builder role um, is even someone like me, uh, probably did not touch much coding for the last 10-15 years, is again back at it using the tools. I am able to do the job. So as long you have the concept, you can be a full stack developer of sorts. But yeah, I still get stuck on some bugs and issues, and I need to reach out to some of the developers for it, right? Now, the other side of it is the tester role. The traditional tester role is evolving a bit also. So if you see here, um, you remember the user stories, test cases, etc. That's where we are seeing, um, because earlier it used to be it used to be the system engineer, or system analyst, and the system analyst and the test analyst used to work together, and they used to each write the user stories, and the other one is to write the test cases and all. But that role is now merging into one. And after that, even with automated testing, there's a need for a human to do the QA. And that's where the auditor's role come in. So, now they can actually verify whatever was confirmed if the build is complete, right? And the last one is that. So that's pretty much all I have here. I leave this screen open and um, entertain some questions if some of you have any. By the way, this is uh, this is something you can use to register early access to the self-service for Xamun that would be released next month. The first 100 will get $30 free usage. So what will $30 allow you to do? It will probably allow you to finish one whole project, small one, end to end. You can try it out. Okay, the survey results are out. But while looking at it, let's wait. Any question, guys, at this stage? You can raise your hand or you can type in. Okay, so likely, a lot of people likely go and register for free access. Very likely and likely all in 20. Go ahead. There are still open $30. Oh, this one is more. Oh, same 20 people. Okay. All right. Please go ahead. I will transfer now back my microphone. Yay. Go ahead. I'm done.
All right, thank you, Sir Arup. So, to our audience, any more questions to our speaker? So you may write your questions at our Q&A chat box, or you may raise your hand so we can unmute you. So we'll give you time to ask questions with our speaker. If there's none, I think there's none. I think that's it, sir. So, thank you so much, Sir Arup, for sharing your time and your expertise with our audience here. So, before we end the Tech Talk session, let me share my screen so I can share with you the feedback form for our session. So, wait, just wait for
Go
a
ahead.
while. All right, so you may scan the QR code that you're seeing on your screen for our feedback form. So again, only those who have accomplished the feedback form will be given the certificate of participation and a copy of the speaker's text and also the recording of this session. So you may take a
There's
screenshot.
also a certificate, huh? They will also
Yes.
receive a certificate for the Zamun level 1,
All right.
which can be helpful down the line.
All right. So as you heard, you also will receive a certificate from Salmon. So you may screenshot the QR that you're seeing on your screen so it will direct you to the feedback form. All right, and to announce our upcoming enablement seminars, we'll be having testing best practices in July. And for August, it will be dataset driven AI systems. For September, it will be introduction to microservice development. And last but not the least, for November, it will be employment training. So we hope you'll be looking forward to our upcoming Tech Talk. So we're not finished yet. We're only at the half. So we hope to see you there. So of course, SoftCon call for speakers is also open. We're still accepting submissions until June 30. So don't hesitate to share your topics now. So you may also screenshot this QR. It will directly put you in the SoftCon's call for speaker submission link. So you may take a screenshot. Also, SoftCon is open for partnership. So if you are interested, you may contact Miss Diana Mantalaba here, our PSIA membership officer. So you can email her here, as you can see on your screen. So it's diana.mantalaba at psia.org.ph. So don't hesitate to reach out to her if you have partnership queries or you would like to partner with us for SoftCon. All right, that is all. So we hope to see you on our next enablement seminar. So we will be posting the posters and the details soon on our Facebook pages and LinkedIn pages and also through email blast. So we hope to see you there. Bye everyone. You may now exit the Zoom.